Hey guys, it's Jason. It's like the fourth time, I think, maybe fifth time I've tried doing this video. Hopefully we can get it right this time. I want to share some things I do with you, or that I do when I'm shooting pictures, when I get home and I edit them. Hopefully it'll help you. As you know, when we go to concerts, we don't always get the best lighting. Sometimes we have too little light, sometimes we have too much light, sometimes we have funky light. Anyway, we take all these pictures, we get home, we have all these pictures, we're going through them, and we have some great shots that we're looking at them and they're just not coming out quite the way we want them to. We run them through whatever photo processing we use, and we're still not getting the pictures that we want. Because of that, I've kind of decided what I want to do is I wanted to take the time to kind of show you guys some things we can do to make these pictures better. And now I want to first start off by saying I'm not an expert. These are just things that I've done that work well for me, and they might work well for you. This lends itself to my style for concert photography. It's not something I would use for portrait work, wedding work, newborn photography, or anything like that. Maybe some sort of yearbook photos or something like that, senior picture type thing. But for the majority of stuff, it's not what I'm going to do. So let's get into it. Okay, here we go. I'm going to be using Adobe Bridge, Adobe Photoshop, and another program I really like using called Topaz Labs. These programs work well for me, and I'm going to use them because that's how I know how to do it. For $9.99 a month, you can get the Adobe Creative Cloud, which will give you Photoshop as well as Lightroom, and also in there Camera Raw. Now this particular picture I'm going to open is from the other night. This is a band called Vintage Noise, as seen right here on their drum. What I want to point out was that this camera that we shot this, which was a D60, that's a fairly old camera. I'll bet you could pick it up for less than $100 on eBay. However, we did shoot it with good glass. We shot it with a 24-70 f2.8. Focal length was 30 mil, which was effective of 45 because this is a crop format camera. It's not the tightest picture. I mean, we could kind of clean that up if we want. Maybe we'll look at that here in a minute. But let's get into this and see what we can do with this. I'm going to go ahead and open this. It's going to open it directly up into Photoshop. Now, because this is a raw picture, it is going to open that directly into Camera Raw, which is Photoshop's native application, if you will, for dealing with raw photos. I always recommend shooting raw, and here in a minute you're going to see why. If you're shooting in JPEG, you're kind of limited as to what you can do. A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll actually take and they will use image, adjust auto color, auto white balance, or whatever, and they'll use those tools, and that's only going to get you so far. Now, I do apologize, my computer's running a little bit slow because I'm running a program in the background to screen capture. Now, a lot of people would look at this image and they'd like it. They'd say, this is kind of an emotional image. He's singing, he's got that old style mic, it looks really good. However, it can be better, and let's show you what we can do. Most people are going to come over here to the white balance and they're going to hit auto. Now, you see what that just did? Auto made that even more blue than it already was, and obviously that's not what we want. We want to clean this up a bit. So what I want to do is I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this picture so we can see it. I'm going to come over here, and you can do, and I will tell you right now, there is some green. This is not a great camera. At f2.8 at 1/200th of a second, we're at ISO 1600, and that's pushing the boundaries of what that camera will do. Well, we're going to fix it, don't worry. Grab this tool right here, that's your white balance tool, and find an area on the image that's either white, gray, or black that you know to be. Now, here's the thing. I want to use this handkerchief, but that might be too white, but we're going to try it anyway. See, it's telling me that's too white. The camera has to have, the program has to have some information to go by. We could actually use this shirt because I know that's supposed to be a white shirt. And you see what happened? That automatically brought that up. Let's try a gray area of this shirt here. And you see it didn't make a whole lot of difference between that white shirt and that gray because that's about where that's supposed to be. Let's try a little bit darker and see if we like that. It's not really giving it to me the way I want it. Try his hair. Not. I'm going to go back over here, play around a little bit, and find the area that I want. I'm pretty happy with that. Granted, it is grainy, but we're going to work on that a little bit as well. One of the things I'm going to try right away, I'm going to bring the highlights down a little bit. I'm going to bring the shadow detail up because now it's a little over on the overexposed side. I'm going to bring the white level down a little bit, and I'm going to bring some more darks back into the picture, and that's going to help with some of that graininess. Now, you're still going to notice some graininess in here, but that's okay. We're going to bring up the clarity a little bit. I'm going to go up to a +5 in vibrance. I want to go up just a tad. Let's see about a 3 on that. Now that seems like a little bit, but here's where I'm being cautious because I don't want the image to get too grainy. Fairly happy with where we're at there. We might have lost a little bit of shadow detail in his hair, but not too much. I'm pretty good. Maybe we'll stop right in around -25 on that one. And we'll say -45 there. We'll say -60 there. Oh, I went positive. Let's go -60 on that side. And then let's say -81 there. So I'm fairly happy with that. We're going to go ahead and open that image. Now, you can see already that's a much better picture than what it was. Some of that blue in him is gone. His skin tones are looking much better. The whites are looking better. There's more clarity in the picture. From here, I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to save this as a JPEG. Remember, it was a RAW file to start with. I'm going to save this as a JPEG. On my desktop, I'm going to save this as a JPEG. And I'm going to keep that. Now, I keep my names in order. Obviously, originally it was 15. I'm going to name this 15A just to make things easier. I'm going to hit save. It's going to ask me maximum resolution is fine. And it's going to save that. Now, what I want to do is I want to jump over here and I want to go ahead and open the other program I was telling you about, which is Photo Effects Lab. Photo Effects Lab, if you haven't heard of it, it's by Topaz Labs. It's a great program. If you go to topazlabs.com, which is right here on your screen, they have a free trial version you can use. Highly recommend it. They have 15 different preset applications or plugins you can use to edit your file. I'm going to go in here and open that one that we just made. And that was on my desktop. And I believe we said that was 15A. So where do we have 15A at? Maybe I didn't save that where I thought I did. Let me check somewhere else. That would have been Lenny Kravitz, Carrie Hilson, in here. Nope, not there either. There it is. Sorry about that. Kind of lost my image. I've saved it in the wrong place. I saved it on the C drive. Anyway, open it up. From here, I'm going to go to plugins. Now, remember we talked about that being a little bit grainy in here? Well, one of the plugins they have is a denoise, and that is an excellent, excellent friend to us in the concert photography world shooting at high ISO. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to use this area here. You can see how noisy that is. You'll notice they have different levels from light all the way to strongest with debanding, as well as for raw files. I'm going to go ahead, since I've already converted this to a JPEG, I'm going to go ahead and stay on the JPEG side. And I'm going to go to strongest only because I know that what it's going to do. You see how it softened that? There's still a lot of noise in there, but it softened that background quite a bit. Now you say, yeah, but I lost detail in his face. What about that? What about that? Well, I'm okay with that, and I'll tell you why. Because we're going to run another program here in a second to fix that. This is going to take about maybe 10 seconds for it to run through and process that, get rid of a lot of that digital noise. Halfway there, we're almost there. Keep going. Now remember, these are all my personal preferences. These are things I do that don't always work. I can't guarantee that this is a magic bullet to get rid of every bad picture you've ever taken, but I use this and it works out pretty well for me, and maybe it'll work out for you as well. So anyway, you can see we've softened that picture up, but we've also got rid of a lot of that noise, especially up in here. Well, you say we soften that image? Well, here's where I go to Topaz Clarity. And what that's going to do is it's going to look at your contrast of lights and darks as well as your color contrast and make micro adjustments there that's going to help bring in some new detail. Now the cool thing is it's going to give me a preview picture of what my image looks like, and then after I go over every preset, it'll actually give me kind of a preview of what each preset looks like, and each one's slightly different depending on what's changing, whether it's the contrast, whether it's the medium, the lows, or the highs. The two that usually work well for me that I like using to give a lot of detail and a lot of drama to my pictures is either micro contrast boost there or micro color. It depends on the image. Sometimes I go back and forth. On this particular one, I'm kind of leaning more towards the color. I think it looks slightly better. Yeah, I'm thinking I want to go right in here. It's going to go ahead and run that. That went through pretty quick. I'm sorry. There it is. We're going to hit OK. It's actually going to process that. Halfway done, almost there. And we're going to save this. Now remember, I saved that last one as, I believe, A. So we're going to save this one as AB. And again, this is just my file structure. I mean, you can save yours obviously however you want. I do this just so I know every incarnation of it. I can go back and I can go to the first one, I can go to the second one, I can go to the third one, whatever. So I've gone ahead and I've saved that on my desktop. I'm going to go back to Photoshop. I'm going to find that one on my desktop and I'm going to open that. That was that A one, but we want the 15AB, which is right here. I'm going to open that. You can see already the difference between the two. From that picture there to this picture here, how much different that looks. Now, for use on the internet, for use for printing, one of the things I will recommend is running a sharpening filter, and I do that as well. A lot of people tell you not to do that because it adds noise in, but when you're going to be adding, or when you're going to be printing these, you're going to need to do that. Also, if you're putting these on Facebook, or if you're putting them on the internet, it helps to sharpen the image. This is a custom one that I did at 200% for the amount, 2.5% radius, or 2.5 pixel radius, sorry, and at a 10% noise reduction. I go ahead and run that. And what that's going to do is that's going to add a little bit more sharpness, especially back into like his face, the lines of his suit, in and around his microphone. You're going to see if I come in. If I get really close, it's going to get kind of grainy. You're going to see that. But when you see that on the internet, it's not going to look like that. It's going to look somewhere in there. It's going to look really sharp. Next thing I recommend, and especially if you're putting your professional work out there in the world, you're going to want to do this. You're going to want to watermark your images. It's just a fact of life. People are out there. This is my watermark here. This is what we use for JDM photography. It's a simple JDM. A lot of people are using a script for their name or something like that. I prefer to use this. It makes it a little bit harder for them to get rid of it, or maybe not so easy for them to crop it out. I did a Control C for copy, Control V for paste. Control T on here is going to give me transform. Since mine's a circle, I want to keep it round, so I'm going to hit Shift as I drag out on the arrow to constrain it. I'm going to make it fairly large, and I'm going to drag it down here in this corner. Now I'm going to probably put mine probably about right there, maybe over there. Now I'm thinking right here to balance the picture. I'm going to put mine right there, hit Enter, and then I'm going to go to the fill opacity and bring that way down, probably around 8. That's my guess. Yeah, somewhere right in there. That's a 9. That's an 8 too low. It's too high. Just enough to see it, but not too much. There. What did I say? 8. And that's going to be my final picture, guys. Save that. Now here is a key. This is a key. I'm going to save this one more time. This will be the third time I've saved it. You already noticed I have the name here. I'm going to go in and make it a JPEG again. It came up with that. Go back to my desktop. I'm going to change it from 15AB now to something a little different. I'm going to say large. And I'm going to save that. So now, once that dialog comes up, save that. I've now saved that as a large picture on my computer. That way I have that if I want to go back and print it for somebody, I have all the resolution I need to print this and whatnot. Now, when you're submitting to a magazine, a publication, an internet site, whatever, you need to know the resolutions they want. For Through the Lens magazine, what I ask is keep this in mind. Always use 1920 as your big number. What I mean by that is if you're doing a landscape, you're going to go 1920 by something. If you're going to go portrait, you're going to go something by 1920. Image size. This right now is 2592 by 3872, but I'm going to change the big number to 1920, and it should be around 1285. You hit OK. It's going to shrink that down. That helps with your speed of upload. That helps with file size on our end for keeping it smaller so we're not taking up tons of space. When I'm doing this on my D800 camera, those are 36 megapixel pictures, and they are huge. Let me tell you, they take up tons of space, so this helps out a lot. Now I'm going to save this one final time. save as. I'm going to go back in and I'm going to go to my desktop. I'll change it to a JPEG. And this time, instead of 15 ABC or 15 small, or I'm sorry, 15 large, this is going to be 15 small. And that now will be the picture that I upload. And there you go. That's how we do it, folks. We start with one and we work it all the way down until we get it right where we want it. And we give it that detail and that clarity. We give it that pop. We give it that really visceral look that really stands out. Hope this has been helpful for you. I've done this with a lot of different pictures. I had a much more intensive video that I did earlier for you, but this is already at 14 minutes. By the time I'm done, it'll be 15. So I hope this helps. If you like this, leave me a comment down below. If you want to see more, leave a comment down below. If you have something you want me to help you with and talk about, leave a comment down below. If I haven't made it clear, leave a comment down below. Thanks again for tuning in. This is Jason with Through the Lens Magazine. Thanks, guys.